Hey guys, welcome to the second edition of Talking Outlander, where that's normal, and we're Hypable, and we're here to talk about episode deuce of Outlander. We're really excited about it. We're drinking and we're talking about Outlander, so those two things go together. Especially because there's some drinking in this episode, lots of it actually. So we're getting Claire tipsy, and I'm Beth. I'm with That's Normal, and I'm having a really old cab that I opened 2 days ago, and I'm finishing it off tonight. This is my third glass. That is disgusting. I don't even care. So y'all go right ahead and tell us what you're drinking.
I'm Nikki. I'm from That's Normal, and I actually made a drink, guys. West Coast tonight.
What?
I'm not going anywhere tonight. It's some sort of rum, OJ, cranberry juice, Madra's concoction in a juice glass. That's how deep I'm going.
Ooh! Wait, are we sharing what our taglines are, Beth, when we introduce ourselves? Is that something you wanted us to do?
Oh, sure, we should do that.
All right.
My tagline tonight is "What would gayless do?"
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. My tagline is voiceover here.
And I'm Becca. I'm from That's Normal as well. And I am drinking a very full glass of Malbec, Merlot, I don't know. While I was pouring it, I said to my husband, I'm going to need a refill. And he said, why don't you just pour a big glass? I said, well, that's embarrassing. And he said, just pour a glass. And just because Elise always needs to know, I'm drinking out of my wolf glass, which is a very important glass that's very near and dear to my heart. And
Save
my tagline, save the wolves. My tagline, I can't actually read it, so I think it's Tale as Old as Time, or Outlander is a Tale as Old as Time, and we'll come back to that later.
We will.
All right, I'm Elise, and you can't see my drink because I just downed a margarita and it's gone already, so that should be fun. And my tagline is, has the secrets that every woman has.
That's great. We all got the giggles.
Like the old lady from Titanic. Her heart is a whole deep ocean of secrets.
Mm-hmm.
Seriously. Hi guys, I'm Laura, and my tagline tonight is "Thank you, Rupert. May I please have another?" Had to go a little old school there on that one. And I don't drink beer, and there's lots of ale drinking in Outlander, so the closest I'm coming to is finishing off the last of an Angry Orchard that was in my fridge, and I thought there was more, and this is the last one, so there we go.
Slante. We should do the cheers. What do they say? It's not slante or...
Slancha.
Slangeva.
Slangeva. All right, Slangeva.
It looks like Slante. Slante.
Oh, it does? That's actually how you say it?
No, it's how it looks. It looks like Slantamoth.
Oh.
Slangeva.
Slangeva. All right, whatever.
Ridiculously.
You listen to the talking...
Salud.
Exactly. Cheers. Stuck American around these parts.
All right, so every Talking Outlander, we're going to try to just incorporate some of the same things, so we have like a little cohesive recap show going on. And so one of the things we did last week, we're going to do this week, is that we're going to describe the episode in one sentence or one phrase. Nikki, you're actually going to go first.
Okay, here's my phrase.
Oh, you stole mine!
Oh my God, it's over? Wait, is it next week? Yeah.
Oh.
Becca.
Oh gosh, so she's literally just stole my phrase. I was going to go...
It's like we worked together for a few years.
Yeah, it's like we know each other. So I'm sorry. We didn't talk about it. I have nothing else. That is literally what I wrote down as the answer to that question. So.
Great.
I said, Claire returns to Castle Leoch with 100% less sex.
Nice. Laura?
I had life in Leoch lacks luxuries. That was mine.
Very nice. Mine is the one in which my husband compared my boobs to Claire's.
Wah, wah.
you, sweetheart.
That's right. We do see her boobs.
We did, and just for a second, and Ryan goes, "Those look just like yours."
Well, thank you, sweetheart.
Thanks a lot. I mean, not that they're bad, but I was like, what? All right. Okay, so let's dig into this episode now that we've gotten our first impressions out of the way. You get dropped in the middle of like Castle Leoch's courtyard, and it's just dudes getting off horses, talking about their hooves, getting their saddlebags ready. And I realized they're really taking a very storytelling, like linear path through this series so far. Like this is not, we're not moving around trying to figure out what's going on. This is storytelling. So it's very chronological book time. How do you guys feel about that? And if it were you, where would you have dropped this episode? Where would you have started it?
In a trash can. No, I'm kidding.
Mean.
No, I loved the show. Let's say that. But I think it was quite laborious. You could have done all of this in 10 minutes and then added, like, jumped to, like, doing anything else but this. I think people won't understand the difference between that dinner and then the gathering that's coming up unless you're, like, a complete book nerd like we are. But it was just like, what are we doing? Why are we just hanging out?
Yeah, it was like smelly. It was like, do I need more about smelly men at the beginning? It's like, I get it. They've all been on the trail together. I watched that last week. If they just started with Mrs. Fitz was great. Loved her. Took me 10 minutes to figure out where I had seen her before. Doctor Who, anybody, you'll figure it out after a while.
Because there's only 50 actors in the UK, and they've all done Doctor Who.
Yeah, and they've all done Doctor Who, and they just keep recycling them. Exactly. But if they had just dumped to that and having her shuttle her away, I mean, that was actually kind of interesting. Like, I didn't need to see all the guys jumping off their horse and everything again. It's like, really, it's like, guys, just cut to the chase.
Or even they could have started with them and, like, had 30 seconds of banter. That's all it needed. Because I think it was like they were these big, scary guys in the woods and in the dark, and then they were like, okay, maybe they're not that scary in the light of day. I think that was the point. But do that in 30 seconds. That's all it needs to be. Like, it just felt like we were hanging out with the guys before they took a bath, and I didn't want to be hanging out with those guys.
Or is it anybody else? But, like, to me, they're almost all blending. Like, book fans, I love Murtaugh in the books. Like, I adore Murtaugh in the books, and I feel like he's just totally blending with every other guy. I don't think anybody can tell the difference as to who they are. Like, I feel like there's no personality differences.
He's the one that's stalking her? I don't even remember.
No, that's Rupert. That's my point. Like, I had to go back and rewatch it 4 times and go, oh, there's Murtaugh, there's Rupert. Like, I think they're all blending, and I don't think that's a good thing.
Well, I think they wanted to, like, I'm sorry, Nikki. I think they wanted to give the Highlanders different personalities, so they made Angus not like just the big guy that beats him up, and they made Rupert not just like this lascivious rapist kind of guy, kind of guy. He also has, he's got humor or whatever, and that's a good thing for them to do. They needed to do that. But the way that like Murtaugh and Angus look so much alike, and then Angus and Rupert's personalities are so much alike that right now I'm getting confused. I think over the next several episodes we're going to be with them so much that it won't be as confusing, because we're going to be on the road with those guys for a long time.
I just have to jump in and just point out I have no idea who you're talking about, but it's like
see, that's my point. Are you lost totally? It's like it's Colum and his band of merry men. It's like, but which one is that one?
What I was trying to say is that basically the point is this guy that you're talking about is not just a rapist; he has a personality.
Rapist with a personality. Yeah. I see the tagline for next week.
And smells bad just for extra effort. Yeah.
I think it's one of those things, like, think of Game of Thrones. If you haven't watched the books, it's going to take you a season or 2 or even 3 to remember all of these characters and the intricate little details. So it's good to remember second episode, but like a little, throw up a name once in a while. Maybe that would help. They just pop up out.
Voiceovers actually have like a name tag. They have a tagline at the beginning of the show, like we do here.
Little sign. I am Murtaugh.
I think Mrs. Fitz does that for us in the beginning. She comes out and she's like, Rupert! And she's like, Murder, you smell like sheep dung. And she's all like super into like calling their names specifically. So we get a little bit of that, but I get it. It's confusing.
She's got a big personality. Yeah, we need to talk about her.
Definitely.
All right,
I don't know if I definitely didn't love her. I was like, whoa, you are like overselling this right now, like stage acting.
Yeah, it totally, that's what it felt like from the moment she came out. I think it was you, Beth, who said when we were watching this together, she's like Mrs. Potts from Beauty and the Beast. Therefore, that is why we have a tagline of Tales all this time. And if you're lucky, I have warmed up my vocals. I may sing a little rendition for you this evening.
Let's hear it.
Do it.
You want me to hear it right now? Tale as old as time. So every time she would come into screen, it's just this big personality, like, Rupert, it's so good to see you. Tale as old as time.
Who is Chip?
It was Chip, yeah. Chip is a little kid. Chip, that little, what's his name? Looks like Chip.
Oh, yeah, Hamish Chip.
I was just so distracted by who she was on Doctor Who. It took me 15 minutes to realize she wasn't playing an alien whose best known quality was that it farts all the time. Like, I was having trouble concentrating because of that.
Well, I literally thought she was from Broadway, the Broadway version of Beauty and the Beast. Like, I mean, she could. I'm guessing if we look at her IMDb page, she has once played Mrs. Potts.
Move over, Angela Lansbury.
Shoving Angela Lansbury out of the picture and stepping up with the Mrs. Potts.
I think I figured out, though, like, the other reason why she was frustrating is her accent seemed to be so different from the rest, because she was, like, rolling her R's or, like, trilling or something.
Yeah, she's
more
not
than everyone else.
Yeah, it just seems a lot more exaggerated than everybody else.
Yeah.
Like, every scene she had.
The woman who played Mrs. Baird should have played Fitz, whatever it is. Should have played Mrs. Fitz. Like, that was a better character.
What if it was just all like Wizard of Oz?
Do that.
You already have Frank and Blackjack.
That's true.
But you know what? Like, at least it's kind of funny that you said that. I mean, Beth, correct me if I'm wrong, but in the books, isn't it when Claire sees Mrs. Fitz, doesn't she look like the owner of the bed and breakfast, or doesn't she look like the owner of, like, the Reverend's housekeeper or something? Like, I was missing that moment. I really wanted that parallel to happen.
You're welcome, guys. You're welcome. I just tied the whole thing together. All right, bye.
You did. You just basically solved it all. I think Beth is actually frozen, so she can't answer that for you. But I totally agree, Laura. I think there was some sort of connection, and I also think there is something that comes to play later in the book, whether it's this one or the next one.
We're on the same page with that. Yeah, exactly.
Seriously, though, the Mrs. Fitz scene, her dialogue is exactly from the book. How good this is. Really? Nettie, you'll be needing breakfast, I reckon. Plenty in the kitchen. Do you go and feed yourselves? I mean, exactly.
And then is it the next line? Tell us all.
The next line is Chip. Chip.
Try the gray stuff. It's delicious.
So we're very early on in this episode talking about it, but I'm going to bring this up right now because that's great. I'm a fan of this book. I think that's wonderful that they have those actual lines in there in a way. Okay, I'm sorry. I don't think that's wonderful. I just lied what I just said right there because it didn't feel sincere. It felt weird. And here we are, Elise, who doesn't know anything about the book and gives two shits about it, did not feel like that was necessary. And I think one of my frustrations might be a little, is that it was a little too close. I don't think it needed to be. The lines could have been a little slightly different. I wouldn't have cared as a book fan. I wanted to look the best on screen. So that's just my opinion on that right there.
Speaking of looking the best on screen, well, go ahead, Beth. You can respond to that.
No, I think that you're right in a lot of ways because we're really super worried about it being a success and people that aren't into the books like getting into it. But I mean, I think that it's not so great right now because we're still in the part of the book that's kind of boring. I mean, Claire's still trying to figure out what's going on, and so But later on, if it's exactly like the book and Jamie's exactly like the book, I'm going to be super excited. I'm not going to have any problems with that. So it's kind of weird right now because I think some of the pacing is off. But that might be a directorial decision and not a problem with the scripts or not a problem with the way they're acting.
And maybe I should preface what I said I didn't like about all that, about maybe that ancillary B-roll, like that stuff that's in the background that isn't necessarily important to the story, that it does not need to be as closely connected to the book. Make that as interesting as you possibly can. But yeah, those Jamie and Claire scenes, I hope the honeymoon scene is as close to what Diana wrote it as possible because that shit's hot.
Yeah. Yeah, Speaking of hot Jamie, let's go straight to where we get him shirtless for the first time.
Yeah, hello.
Fully shirtless. Fully shirtless. So I'm a little... Those scars don't look how I intended them to look. They are gruesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But remember how in the book they're like pink and raised? And because I kept thinking that they looked like penises, and she kept talking about stroking them with their fingers. I'm like... I think that
my word.
But they do definitely look more new than old, like at this point. Like, you know, not that he was just whipped yesterday, but they do look like more, I guess, not aged. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, they look a lot. It looks like he's almost got a hide now instead of like a scarring. It's more like it completely changed the landscape of his back. And I guess that's accurate to what would happen if you were completely like flogged like that twice in a row, but it freaked me out.
Yeah. I forget where I can't remember if it was an interview that I did or one that I read somewhere else, but Sam was talking about getting fitted for a prosthetic back.
Oh.
Like somewhere. Maybe Diana was talking about it. I don't remember, but she said it's a whole big prosthesis that they put on him to do that. And yeah, that was it. She was telling us that she was chatting to Sam as he had to sit there and sit still while they were doing the casting for his prosthetic back. That's what it was. And she had to explain that because we were like, why did he need a prosthetic back? So
is it weird to say that I liked it when he got hurt?
I mean,
you and Diana agree.
So I think I need that. Like most of my ginger experience, my ginger experiences are like filled with regret. So I need. I'm not like automatically drawn to him, but I think I need him to be like roughed up a lot. Like I said last time, I need like more dirt and blood and sweat. And so like if you're like also beating him, I feel like it takes kind of some of the Ken doll out of him.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Oh my gosh, I am just really excited for you to keep watching, Elise.
I am so excited for my next tagline. My next tagline is, I have 5 years of ginger regret. I've got 5 years of ginger regret on my back.
I think that Sam is so pretty and handsome in real life that, like you said, it takes that dirt, and then when we flash to that scene of him getting whipped, like, let's move there because, holy shit, that was amazing. Yeah. That was, like, the best scene of the entire episode.
Because it had Tobias in it.
Had that amazing like moment between Tobias holding Jenny and then Jamie is seeing that. Like that was
and Tobias made my skin crawl this week. Like last week he did not make my skin crawl. This week I got the kind of moment off of him.
Totally. Like, dreading what happens, like what, because we know what's coming, we know it gets worse, and we're just like, I like him as a person, and then I liked him as Frank, and now seeing him as this horrific character, yeah, it's only going to get worse, because that was so rough, making Jamie look at his sister, like,
right.
Oh.
Yeah, and props to Sam in that scene as well. He has got, the pain on his face is very emotional, like, that physical pain of seeing your sister bared like that is very evident in his face, and that scene, despite the fact that Tobias is doing a great job as Jack, and I think her name is Sarah, right? No, that's her name in the fall.
I think actually her name's Laura, the girl who's playing Jenny.
That's right. That's right. Her name is Sarah Key in the fall, and that's what I was thinking. Sarah Kay in the fall, and that's what I was thinking of. But all three of them really are just like making this triangle of like pain and torture right then in that scene. Just like for a flash of a moment, but Sam's really got it in his face too. So it was good.
I think his reaction to her being essentially disrespected and humiliated really informs that scene later of where he takes the punch for leg hair.
Yeah.
Wait, it's not leg hair. It's some
No, I think
Lyra.
whatever. Yeah. It informs that scene of like he understands what she could possibly go through because his sister also was there.
Yeah.
I would say though, like that was the first of all, I don't get the leg hair thing. I don't know why we're calling her that.
When you spell Lyra, it looks like leg hair.
Oh,
So
okay.
that's how you would pronounce it. We'll have
I
to
was like,
spell
they probably all had leg hair. Am I right? Let's not get that judgmental now.
They definitely all have leg hair, yes.
Yeah. I actually thought that scene wasn't super necessary for me. I kind of thought it was almost redundant with the scene before. Like I got that he was valiant, and I thought that it was maybe a little bit beating me over the head with it. But that also just could have been that it was too long.
What scene? When he stood up for leg hair?
Yeah, leg hair.
No, way too long.
Yeah.
Totally agree.
Yep. But we'll be critical later on.
Just knock him out. We don't need to see every single punch. Like
Right. That was I don't know why they drugged that out. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's important. What I didn't get was like there's all this. He's talking in Gaelic for so long. Like in the book, he just stands up and he's like, whatever, I'm going to do this. And he does it. And it's not this long, drawn out, like, it looks like he's like telling jokes. He's doing a stand-up routine. I'm like, what are you doing? You're taking your punishment? Why does it take that long to say I'll do it? Like,
right.
I don't get what they're supposed to be saying. And
Well, and he looked like he was making fun of it or making light of it the whole time. Like, yeah, as you said, like a stand-up routine. And it's like, why would you poke the troll? You know your uncle's crazy anyway. Why are you poking the troll? Why would you deliberately do that, you know?
I mean, I get that Jamie's motivation in that scene is to draw some heat away from Leary and at the same, or, you know, just take it because he's a good guy. And also he's trying to show that he's not above whatever's going on in the Mackenzie clan or whatever. He's not trying to be, you know, take over the clan or whatever. So that's like an important aspect of the political landscape that's going on, but it just felt weird. And I mean, I guess it has stuff going on in the future, but at the time I was like, gosh, this is taking forever, and he's shucking it up over there, and I don't know what's going on.
We needed a little Mrs. Potts to come in singing, you know what? All this time. That's what we needed. I mean,
Maybe we need to have on like a live episode or something. We need to have Graham McTavish just translate for us. Like I'm sure he could tell us what's really happening. So, Graham, if you're listening.
Mm-hmm.
I have to say that this episode, though I probably wasn't as engrossed with it overall as the first one, my favorite scene out of the two episodes was in this one, and that was when Claire and Jamie were in the stables.
Oh, yeah. That was a great. Wait, before we go there, because I want to talk about that one, we need to talk about a very important scene in that we kind of just talked about in the flashback where Jamie's explaining his relationship with Blackjack, and that is the kilt boner scene. Boner was not obvious because we asked, you know, we just got a boner right there. And she's like, what? What just happened? I
think Elise might be frozen a little bit right now.
No, I wanted to talk about it.
Yeah. But it's very not, it's one of those things, it's like a nod to book fans.
Right.
Like, it's happening, it happened, that's why she got up as quickly as she did, but it's not explicitly stated. And so all of us are like, what?
Right.
So,
okay, go ahead, Lise, you're back, yay.
I've been here.
Oh,
I don't know what's going on. Sorry. To me, it seemed that she was apologizing for like crying and being emotional.
Right.
And then I wrote in my notes. It's so weird to write these things out, you guys. I wrote, if it really is a kill boner, then that's super. Don't be scared. Like, oh no, this? Don't be scared of this. This happens all the time. Don't be scared as long as I'm here, and as long as this is here, really just like don't worry about it. Like,
not be scared as long as you have me and my
Yeah.
I kill.
You shan't be scared of my kilt boner.
I like how he says,
Yeah.
"You need not be scared of me or anybody else here, because I'll fight him with this thing." It's like another dirt. I'll fight him with it.
Just whip it out.
Yeah.
I
I
think
gotcha.
if you didn't know
Not to
that's what was
protect my
happening, I feel like that was a little awkward if you didn't happen. Like, because it was just sudden, and Claire's such a strong personality, so would she have been like, I'm so sorry for crying? Like, probably not. She's like, whatever, I cry. I don't know.
I almost wish there was like a Mystery Science 3000 or like TN
Pop-up video.
version of the show that you could just watch on another channel that was like in the corner, like a little nod, like a wink at the camera, or like something that like everyone would get, but no one who doesn't know would, do this.
Oh, I want it to be super explicit. Just like a pop-up with an arrow that says kilt boner.
Or we could just have his kilt suddenly go up, guys. I mean,
Special effects.
whatever, right?
Take that to a different Disney movie. It could be like that scene in The Little Mermaid with the
Right,
priest.
exactly.
Easy. I will say this, though. This was a little thing that I noticed in that scene that you may not notice if you haven't seen it 3 or 4 times like I have already, is when he kind of pulls her in, he starts talking Gaelic, and he says the Gaelic word for my love.
Oh.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he calls her my love right there.
Oh.
Outlander Nerd of the Day award.
Oh, yeah.
Really.
Represent.
I got it.
I gotta give props to Sam in all those scenes. Like, it would be easy just to kind of I mean, you only have so many ranges of emotions, but in each one of his scenes, I feel like his face is so expressive. Like, I am not bored looking at him. Like, every now and then I'm like, oh, just smile at me again. Like, I just get really enraptured every time he's on the screen, and I just think he's really dynamic and in some senses like almost outperforming what the lines in the script are. He's making the scene more interesting being him.
Yeah, I mean, and that's kind of what Jamie does in the book too. So it's kind of, but yeah, Sam is killing it, and I feel like we need to talk about Katrina. So let's go to real quick. Let's talk a little bit about Colum and his introduction to the whole thing, and like, what did you think? Like, what did you think of his prosthetics, and what did you think of the tension? I felt like the tension between them was a little stilted. But maybe that's realistic. Maybe he couldn't be like overtly rude to her or antagonistic to her, and she couldn't either. So, but it felt like I wasn't really watching two people that wanted to get at it with each other. So
I just feel like Colum's a little more charming than that. I mean, I thought the physicality was fine and the portrayal of what his condition was, but I mean, I just feel like he's a little more charming than he was. He was just too laid back for me.
I think between the two of them, I mean, obviously Dougal was always the one that creeped me out more and like seemed meaner and like against her more. And maybe I totally read that wrong, but so I feel like it was realistic for me. I thought he was fine, and I was just really didn't want to look at him because his legs grossed me out so much, and that's really mean, but that's how I felt.
They did an amazing job on that.
Amazing job.
I gasped out loud when that happened. So
yeah.
I was like, how is he balancing? Like, I was like, literally like, dude, how are you? Like, I wanted to know how they did that.
It looks like his ankles would break.
Right.
I mean,
Yes.
I don't know what Toulouse-Lautrec syndrome looks like. I assume that their legs were stunted, but
bowed and stunted, but whatever.
yeah, it didn't. I mean, it makes sense. I just don't know what that's supposed to look like. But it looks pretty awful and painful. So I get it. I loved how Katrina's face, as Claire, she doesn't betray the fact that she's even recognizing it. And as a nurse, that makes total sense. Like, she just kind of looks at him and she sees it and she just keeps looking up at his face. And it was really like a classy way to handle the fact that this dude's walking in on a pair of giraffe stumps. I mean,
You did a great job.
I mean, she's doing an amazing job the whole time, I think, for them, just embodying that character. And like, how would you even play a modern day person time traveling back? Like, I think she's done a bang up job, if you will.
And I think one of the things that is so great about like seeing her fall for Jamie slowly, and we'll see it obviously more and more, is just kind of the little things where I think she's attracted to him, but there's nothing she's really overtly done to show us that. He's an attractive guy, and she's just kind of like not been afraid to look at him a little bit.
Yeah.
And I think she's done a very good job of those little nuanced things to show us that is something that could be growing.
Yeah. And I noticed today when they were doing the whole like costuming thing when I was rewatching it, all the people that have been complaining about her being too skinny, and I would never complain about that because, obviously.
Yeah, your boobs look like hers, right.
But, like, if she was a bigger girl and she had to wear all that costuming, she would look gigantic in this world. Like, the men would not look as big. She would just look, I mean, I'm not saying that a bigger actress couldn't wear it and pull it off, but that is so much stuff. It makes her look normal-sized.
Right.
And so, like, all those people that are complaining about her not being big enough, there's reasons for it.
I mean, I'd rather have a skinny girl that could act than a body-appropriate type who couldn't, thank you very much.
Right.
Exactly. All right, let's do real quick. Let's wrap it up. Let's talk about our most favorite GIFable moment. Nikki, go first.
No, not me first. I wasn't ready. Someone else.
Go.
I mean, we barely talked about it, but at least talked about our favorite scene in the stables. And I think I think there's just a moment when Jamie just kind of like leans back and he's just like chewing, talking to her, but he just looks like so amazing and hot. And I'm just like, I think that's my gift of the moment of this week.
Yeah.
There weren't any like really funny ones I was looking for. Like if Kilt Boner had really like gone down like we had expected, like Boner and then bam like across the room, like that would be awesome. But
Cullen style.
Yeah, exactly. Always comes back. Since that did not happen, I actually will choose a kind of laid back one where I really liked when Claire is walking out of the castle and when she first sees Chip, not Chip, playing down below, and it's like a dark, stormy sky, and it was just beautiful. I mean, I loved the way that this episode in general just gave us a little bit more context of that world, and I thought that like whole backdrop was really pretty.
I agree. In fact, my video started buffering right then, and so it stopped on that landscape where she's talking about like the paintings and stuff, and I was like, oh, it does look like a painting. I wish it would move on though.
Seriously. I think I would pick, just because we didn't really talk about her, Lottie Verbeek, who plays Galis Duncan, because she makes her debut this episode, and I just kind of liked her tucked under that little hood. Like, I just feel like that's a gift that we could, I don't want to spoil people, but we could caption that so many funky ways for stuff that's coming up, and she's hiding in her little hoodie there, so I would do that.
Is she Red Riding Hood?
Yeah, she's Little Red Riding Hood.
What are you talking about?
Yeah. What would Galis do? She'd be Little Red Riding Hood.
I have mine.
Go ahead.
All right, so since there wasn't any huge moments, I think I would put Mrs. Fitz and Mrs. Potts together. And like Tails all this time. Or to the guard, y'all. Just on there.
Okay. Mine is really dumb, but I love the look on Sam's face when she's at his back, and he looks over his shoulder and he says, "They were holding me prisoner," like, because she asked why he's escaped, and they were holding me prisoner. I don't know. I just like that one.
We could just pile all of Sam's smiles together and just go from gift to gift to gift to gift. That would be good.
He looks amazing this episode, for sure.
Yeah. So what's up next? Like, we know kind of what's coming, unless you're Elise, you know what's up. So what do you want to see? Like, if you had your druthers and you got to pick what was coming up in the next block or the next couple of episodes, what do you want to see the most?
I think they would head out on the road. They would get back to the action, go collect some taxes, get ready to come back for the Sandarum, whatever his name is, creepy guy. We need to go do something. We need to leave the castle. We've been there too long.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't remember what the episodes are called. I know that leaked, so I don't actually remember what's coming up next because I haven't read the book. I didn't reread the book. I don't like to do that before I watch. So yeah, I definitely think leaving the castle and just really developing that relationship between Claire and Jamie a bit more would be really great. I'm trying to think if there's anything sexy, violent that's coming up, and I don't think it is. So unfortunately, Elise, you may get a little snooze fest a little bit because we need 100% less sex might happen again. Yeah, that's kind of my thing. Something needs to happen, some kind of action. Hopefully, something in the next episode.
I want sex or a dragon, either one.
Sex or a dragon, right? Obviously.
Yeah, I agree with you too. I really want to see Jamie's fighting skills. Like that's really what I'm looking for. And somewhere along the road, I mean, things don't always go well on the road. You know, we know that he trotted off on the horse to go fight, and we saw him. The biggest fight we've seen is him dumping Claire in the dirt. Yeah. I want to see Jamie wield a sword, wield a dirk, and show why he's an awesome fighter. I want to see that.
That's a great one, Laura. There's actually a scene in the book before they actually get to the Rents. They're out traveling, and Claire's like, they're just outside. She's like sitting on a rock, and Jamie's kind of not aware of her. He's just messing around with this dirk, and he makes this like really smooth move, like with his left hand, and comes around, and she's like, "Dang, that was hot."
Look at Elise's face. Look at Elise's face. All the "that's what she said" moments you just talked about. Messing around with his dirk in his left hand. Like, come on, Beth.
What? And a dirk is a big deal. It's a big Scottish tool that they need. Well, I'll say this. What I want to see, I want to see Claire get really emotional about something other than her where she is. I want to see Claire get emotional over something that's happening in the 18th century that is causing her pain. So I'm looking forward to a little bit of the jealousies and things that are about to happen. That's what I want.
Yeah. Cool. Can we talk about how we're going to do this from there on out? Because we do actually plan to do Talking Outlander live at some point, so that you guys who are watching, we're going to announce it ahead of time, and we can have question and answer and some interaction on Twitter, because that's a lot. But we're actually posting this before, this is actually happening before the episode airs, because we've had some access to the episodes, but we do plan on doing this maybe on a Sunday after it airs on Saturday nights, because let's be honest, Saturday nights at 11 p.m., I don't know if anybody's talking about this, I don't think so. So, yeah, so we just wanted to throw that out there. That has been our plan all along, and we also have other people that are going to come and join us. Some of us will be here every week. Some of us will not be. We hopefully will find some other Outlander newbies that have not read the book, like Elise, because those opinions, I think, are really important, and we really appreciate all the great feedback, good and bad, we've had on what you've enjoyed. So please keep it coming. We want to know what we should talk about, what you guys want to hear. Because this has been really fun for us, because we're going to talk about this regardless whether we're doing it on the internet or not, and it's just fun to do it in a public forum where, you guys can enjoy too, hopefully.
Yeah.
Totally.
What would Galis do? I know what she'd do. She'd sing. Let's do it as a group, guys. Tell us time. Luther Vandross over here. Oh, R.I.P. Did he die?
Luther Vandross, I think he's kicking. He's good.
Oh, he's alive? Oh, gosh. Never mind.
We're done. And we're done.
Good night.
Good night. Thank you, everybody, for joining us on this episode.
Bye.
Bye. Ending.